Welcome into NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey here for Chat Sports. We begin today's show with a story I don't think many of us thought we'd see. That is, could Drew Brees make a return to the NFL? The reasoning why we're talking about it is Brees himself appears to have expressed interest in playing again in the NFL. Now, these comments came after a report said that Brees would not be returning to NBC, and we will get to those the tweets from Brees here in a minute. I will mention this as well. Even though Drew Brees unquestionably is a Hall of Famer in my mind, this is someone who really did begin to show the signs of old age. So here is the first tweet we'll show, which is actually the second one in the chronological order from Drew Brees. Quote, despite speculation from media about my future this fall, I am currently undecided. I may work for NBC. I may play football again. I may focus on business and philanthropy. I may train for the pickleball tour, senior golf tour, coach my kids, or all of the above. I'll let you know. Now, that tweet got more traction than this one did 10 minutes before, or 9 minutes before. It was a part of an Instagram post for Brees. Man, signing Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu makes me want to come back and play again. Great additions, leaders, and players. We've got two different tweets from Brees expressing interest in playing football once again. Now, at the end of his career, the numbers didn't dip that much for Drew Brees. He was completing over 70% of his passes. Really great touchdown-interception ratio. The yards were down. The average depth of target was not particularly good. And even though the arm and the injuries too really did begin to kind of fail Drew Brees, he was such a hyper-intelligent football player that he was able to make throws and make plays in an offense that did not ask him at all really to push the ball downfield. I do believe, however, that these numbers are deceptive. These are not numbers that I think you would expect from Drew Brees in an offense that wasn't just a bunch of short, quick check down passes. Is he better than some QBs out there? Maybe, but there's a lot more going on here with Drew Brees. So we will come back and spend more time on if he does come back, where could he go? What would he look like? Before that, will Brees actually make an attempt to return to the NFL? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if that ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Type in Y for yes or type in N for no. I do not believe Brees will come back, and frankly, I don't think he should. I don't think Brees is the same guy that we all know and love. He is 43 years old now, folks, and Brady is the exception, not the rule. Oh, by the way, per Peter King, Brees had left shoulder surgery not even 2 weeks ago, or actually exactly 2 weeks ago in May. So now you are rehabbing an injured 43-year-old QB who, quite frankly, despite what the numbers say at the end of it, he looked done in the 2020 campaign. He did not look like he had the arm strength left in him. Now, we saw other QBs have success. Peyton Manning, for example, though it wasn't quite as extreme there for Drew Brees. But Manning looked cooked at the end of his career as well. At a certain point, when you're a quarterback, you just lose it. We saw Big Ben, for example, not have the same stuff he did in his prime. I don't want to see Drew Brees come back, be cooked, and have that be the lasting memory of, wow, that guy, he shouldn't have come back at all. Now, in Peter King's article about this, when he mentioned the May 2nd surgery, he actually did mention 3 teams that could make sense. Now, he also said, and I agree with him, Brees ain't going to come back. I'd be shocked if he did. The Saints, of course, make sense, but they have committed to Jameis Winston. And oh, by the way, fun fact, Brees actually counts $11.5 million in dead money on their cap this year, no matter what, which is didn't matter because they still spend money. The Panthers, meanwhile, they have Sam Darnold, not much else, but does Drew Brees want to come back to play for the Panthers? I'm not so sure. And the Seahawks also mentioned, but again, I don't think Brees comes back. I'd be pretty shocked there. Our final question, I should say, on the Drew Brees conversation, could he still start in the NFL? Type in 1 for yes, he still got it in him, or type in 2 for no. Brees does not have the remaining ability. He cannot be a starter. He's pretty much cooked at this point. Could he be a top 32 quarterback? I just don't think so. I don't think he has what it takes anymore. So sound off for me in the comments section. We are also on Rumble, my friends. Go follow us over there today at rumble.com/NFL Daily for even more NFL videos, including NFL Daily After Hours, roughly once a week. If you haven't already followed us, you get free uncensored content on that video platform. And unlike YouTube, you can play our videos in background, kind of podcast style. So hit us up. Go follow us, all for free, rumble.com/NFL Daily. Let's go to Deshaun Watson. Some news coming down the pipeline on his investigation, or I should say the NFL's investigation into him. The NFL is meeting with Watson this week as part of its investigation into the 22 accusations of sexual misconduct as part of massages. You know the story by now, I would assume. Now, it's important to make note that the NFL typically meets with the accused player as one of, if not the last stage in its investigative process. This is a sign that the investigation should be nearing its end. Now, we also know this about the NFL. They could absolutely drag this out, take their good old sweet time, and not have an answer for Cleveland or the Browns or Deshaun in time for week 1 of the season. Although the criminal side does appear to be over, the civil side is still ongoing. Those civil lawsuits have not been finalized. That process is still ongoing, and it is fair to wonder if the NFL, like it often does, could choose to allow those cases to, proceed. But the criminal side of it is over. We also know this about NFL discipline. It's kind of a crapshoot. Sometimes the guy you swear should get 6 games gets nothing. The guy you think should get 0, he gets all 6. It's inconsistent regardless of the team that it ends up being applied to, and except for some specific DUI cases, for example, where that's pretty hard and fast rule in the CBA. So with that in mind, how many games, if any, will Deshaun Watson be suspended? Will the NFL come down hard on him, or slap on the wrist and everyone moves on and we don't talk about it unless he gets accused of it again? How many games will Watson, if any, be suspended? Sound off in the comments section. Deshaun Watson got the bag from the Browns, and now Jaire Alexander got one from the Packers. Also, Denzel Ward got paid by the Browns. It's a record-setting new deal for Alexander and the Green Bay Packers. 4 years, $84 million, the most in franchise history, or in NFL history, I should say, for a corner. This deal, 1 year shorter than the Denzel Ward deal, pays him more. In general, the longer the deal is, the more money you get because of the way you can structure those contracts. Alexander is now the highest paid corner in the NFL. I am not surprised he beat Denzel Ward. Frankly, it would have been a shocker if he did not surpass Ward, given how good Alexander has been for the Green Bay Packers. He is the best player on their defense by a pretty good margin. I'm going to show some stats here for Alexander in a minute, but first, I want you to grade the contract extension for Green Bay and for Alexander. How'd the Packers fare? Is this a bad deal, a great deal? Sound off in the comments. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know how you grade the Jaire Alexander contract. In 2020, the last time Alexander was fully healthy, he was arguably the best corner in the NFL. No shade meant to guys like Jalen Ramsey. Only 1 interception. And in general, you do want your corner to force takeaways. But when your number 1 guy allows 51.3 completion percent when targeted and 375 yards all season, that is elite coverage play. That is locking down one side of the football field. That is elite production out of Alexander. I have no issues whatsoever with the contract. They had no choice. He was going to be the highest paid corner in the NFL. You do not want to let him leave. He's too damn good. I am not mad at all with this deal by Green Bay. Alexander is one of the best corners, if not the best, in the NFL. Now, if you want free daily videos here on Chat Sports, boy, you're in the right spot, right? Subscribe. Daily NFL videos, weekly live shows, NFL, NBA, of course, ramping up again. Postseason, offseason just around the corner for them. Well, postseason underway, I should say. If you want the best NFL videos, subscribe. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Final story, James Bradberry to the Arizona Cardinals. ESPN projected this particular move, and although I don't always like what they do, I do think this makes a lot of sense for Bradberry and for the Cardinals. As I'm sure you guys know, or at least most of you know, the Giants had tried to trade Bradberry, and they failed to do so, in large part because of the contract situation. There was interest, per various media reports out there, in Bradberry, but the teams wanted to give him a new deal. Bradberry said no to their offers. He ends up getting cut, and now it's been a week, and he's waiting to sign still, so I wonder if that contract is still an issue. So Bradberry's top fits. Teams that I think make sense beyond just the Cardinals, who we'll get to here in a minute. The Raiders, they've been linked pretty heavily. I think Philadelphia would be a home run fit for Bradberry. Patriots and Steelers have bodies right now at the cornerback position, but they could absolutely do with another impact stud, potential number one corner. So we'll come more in depth here on Arizona momentarily, but I want to hear from you guys first. Who do you believe will end up signing James Bradberry? Is it Arizona, the Raiders, Philadelphia? Maybe somebody I didn't mention in my top 5 list that was not ranked, by the way. I want you guys to make your predictions right now in the comments section. Who do you think will sign James Bradberry? Look now at the Cardinals' cornerback depth chart, which, to be blunt, is not great. They are not in the best of positions. I love Byron Murphy. I know there's excitement about the upside of Marco Wilson and Jeff Gladney, but those guys could also not be good enough to really maximize your cornerback room for a team, make no mistake, by the way, that is desperately trying to win football games right now. And they have not done that at this point. Now, Bradberry was not that great this past season with the Giants. He regressed. He allowed more yards, doubled his touchdowns allowed on more targets, but not enough to justify the difference in the touchdowns and yards allowed there. He simply wasn't as good as he was in an awesome 2020 campaign. So I think there should be interest in Bradberry. I'm also curious if he continues to wait as he tries to get maybe a bit more money than what teams are offering him so far.